Greetings, everyone. This was supposed to be up last night. Sorry, I had to burp. And then I watched the episode and said, in my defense, I did say on Friday Night Tights, I'm like, I'm going to watch the episode. I'm either going to go live or F off and watch Clarkson's Farm. And that's kind of what I did. So we're going to talk about it today. It won't be long. Welcome, everyone. I don't know if anybody even watched this. Hail, Sky Blue Rob 88, Ian Riley, Gare, Dave Grimes, Johnny 182EE, or is it 182E? I don't know. Film Watcher 96, Mike McGinnis. I'm here. Kitty Roo, I'm here. And we're going to talk about Doctor Who. Season 1, Volume 3 at this point. Season 1, Volume 3, Episode 3. The Mighty Return of Stephen Moffat. A bottle episode known as Boom. Now, bottle episodes are not insults because one of Russell T. Davies' greatest achievements is Midnight. Back when he still had it. He ain't got it anymore. And I'm very sorry to tell you, neither does Stephen Moffat. Up front, before I go into the very short explanation of what I'm going to spoil the hell out of this, by the way. Explanation of what this 45-minute episode was. I will say it is probably going to be the best Ncuti Gatwa episode of Doctor Who. It's still not good, but it's not as bad as Russell T. Davies. Is there cringe dialogue? Yes. Is there politics? Yes. Is there one little based argument in it? Yes, absolutely. But it gets undercut. It completely gets undercut. Because the theme of this episode is anti-war and how the war machine is fueled by corporations. Like, I think we can all get behind that. It's pretty basic. But then they pick some very low-hanging fruit and ruined it all. As far as Ncuti's performance, well, we'll get into it. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it. Logically, it didn't make any sense. The B plot was horrible, and it's Stephen Moffat doing what RTD's doing. They're repurposing their own shit. And Mahler pointed it out when Ruby calls home, and you can mirror that completely when Rose calls home. So when the first black gay doctor, played by Ncuti Gatwa, reprograms her phone to call mom, her black mom, Ruby's white if you don't watch the show. Of course, DEI requirements. Of course, they're not called that there in the UK, but that's what they are. It mirrors when the phone is programmed for Rose to call home, and that's a great scene. This one's a bad one. So repurposing your own stuff is, I have to say, something new. Stephen Moffat did it as well. We all remember the papal mainframe, right? Now we have the Anglican Marines. And we had the army for the papal mainframe, which turned out to be the Silence, and really cool stuff. I liked it. So this episode takes place on a barren planet. It starts out with a couple of white guys. One of them's injured. He's blinded. He's not permanently blinded, but he's injured in the face. He's got some bands on. The two white guys are walking through a decimated war zone. They're talking about the enemy might be in the fog. I can't even remember what the enemy is called, and I don't care. You can probably remember in the chat if any of you watched it. Or they might be the mud. We're not sure what we're fighting. The guy carrying the cat. By the way, they have the it's Church of England. It's supposed to represent the Church of England, so it has the colors that fathers and pastors wear. If I get it wrong, I apologize. And the guy carrying one of them steps on a mine and blows up. Now, it's key to know that when a human steps on this mine, it uses the human as the bomb. So the human becomes the bomb and it puts, pretty big crater in. Blind guy gets approached by a robotic AI nurse, which decides to kill him because his recovery rate's going to take too long. It's an algorithm. So the whole thing is it's a war algorithm run by a giant Raytheon of space, basically. And he dies. By the way, both white guys dead within the first 5 minutes. But it's all right. They practiced diversity. They killed another straight male. He just wasn't white. But that doesn't matter because we're way past white guys now. It's just straight males. So which we told you would happen, by the way, because it's all masculinity. There's no masculinity in this show. They tried to do a good father-daughter thing, except the father, who's working for the corporation and this Anglican Marines was allowed to bring his daughter along. So she's off in the camp. Doctor and Ruby, the first black gay doctor by Ncuti Gatwa, and Ruby show up on the planet. Doctor immediately, he heard some screaming, runs out, steps on a mine, and that's where the rest of the episode goes. The Nurse What, I can't call him the doctor. Sorry. Nurse What is balancing on a mine, and Ruby has to help him. So she finds what's left of Daddy, and what he does is they basically get condensed into like a tube. So it's a full body there, and they just remove all the moisture, I'm guessing. And it's got an AI in it, so it can have final words. Yes, again, the nurse killed him because his recovery time was going to be too long. So everything is based on an algorithm. And the entire episode is the doctor Nurse What trying to figure this out. And eventually there's a B plot of a man and a woman in a relationship, which is odd. And they kind of like each other, and they're all part of this. And she wants to show him his tattoo, and I couldn't give a shit. She runs out there too. So I'm trying to rush through this because nothing happens. There's a lot of Nurse What babbling and trying to figure out what's going on. And it tries to be a Stephen Moffat episode, right? So that's where it probably becomes not as unwatchable as the other ones, because it really tries to be a Stephen Moffat episode, but it's a shadow of a copy of a whisper of a hint of what a Stephen Moffat episode is represented within this episode, because when the person gets killed by the nurse bot, some of their consciousness gets copied onto the AI just a little bit, right? That's pretty much what this episode was Stephen Moffat trying to remember what he was in better days. He's past his prime too. I have a theory that I'm pretty sure is correct why they both came back. So, I mean, aside from lots of money, but we'll get to that. So I don't have to talk about this episode anymore. The doctor blames capitalism for the ramp up of war. War profiteering is something that, all governments do. So I wouldn't particularly blame capitalism. I seem to recall the USSR became a war machine. China, war machine. I think becoming a war machine is a part of any political philosophy. It is unfortunate when you privatize these wars and you don't declare them and you go around meddling in other countries. Certainly not for that. Beware the military industrial complex. Absolutely agree with that. Here's where it fucks up. But he does specifically blame capitalism. He blames the Anglican Marines who are working for this giant corporation because of their faith. I'm like, oh man, they're really going after the Christians on this one. And they say faith. They aren't specific to Christians except for the colors they're wearing. And it turns out they're fighting nobody. They're fighting nobody. It's an algorithm playing war games. They brought people to a desolate planet where there's no war happening, and they're fighting their own technology to keep the algorithm going, to keep soldiers, to keep people buying. Not that there's a shortage of anything to have a war with in the universe of Doctor Who. Okay. But that's the whole point they were trying to get. And the doctor straight up tells, so God, the guy who's with the girl accidentally shoots Ruby because they don't know who she is. It gets all confused. So Ruby's dying. And we find out again that Ruby's some sort of impossible girl. They say her age is 3,082 years. Now, it might have been that's how far in the future they were been, or that might be her actual age. Don't really fucking care. Impossible girl being repeated again in some way. Now, remember, they did this with Rose when she looked into the heart of the TARDIS, and they did this with Clara. So they're doing it again. Wow, whatever. So the other girl who works for, I keep wanting to say the papal mainframe, but it's not. It's I can't remember. Space Raytheon. He looks straight at her. I'm paraphrasing, and says, it's they made it easy because you're fighting this war because of faith, because you had faith in something and you didn't bother to ask questions. And faith is just a way of not having to ask questions. They tried to fix that later on in the episode when the doctor does tell the little girl to have faith. And somebody said, I thought you didn't like faith. He's all, well, just because I don't like something doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. But you're still like, you're going right after it, my man. Just make a Doctor Who episode. And there's nothing wrong with calling out war and war being funded, both sides being funded by one side. All down with that. Totally fine with that. But mostly it was just a boring episode. I find Nurse What to be incredibly annoying. Ruby, I could care less about. I could care less about any of these characters. And it was just a bunch of recycled themes and ideas that Moffat has had before. The only reason Russell T Davies and Moffat came back was money and to back up their boy Chibnall and to try to preserve their legacy. But instead of just making good Doctor Who, they had to back up their boy Chibnall because of the changes he made. Now, this is a decision I think they're fine with. They knew most of the fans were upset and they didn't care. They chose the industry. They didn't choose the fans. That's what industry boys and girls will do. So they decide to re-solidify the Timeless Children. And at that point, I'm like, that was always my deal breaker. So here's the problem with even talking about Doctor Who anymore. We're just, at this point, they're repeating the same mistakes of the Jodie era, maybe trying to make them worse. But they've already suffered the consequences. Nobody's watching this fucking show. It'll be pure apathy by the time it ends. And good luck remembering when season 2 is going to come out, and somebody will mention it to you in a year and you'll go, oh, it's out. Kind of like Star Trek Discovery right now. Oh, it's out. And there's a point where you just go, well, they're just repeating the same. They're not even like fucking up new. They're fucking up the same way they did before. And it's like, I've kind of said all I'm going to say. R.I.P. Doctor Who. It ain't coming back. I don't know how. Props on Russell for convincing Disney that this was a good idea. Disney's pretty fucking stupid. I've always said Warner Brothers was the dumbest company in America and Disney is the most evil, but Disney has grabbed that crown. They are the dumbest motherfucking company in America right now. Warner Brothers is trying to do stuff. I don't agree with all of it, but they're trying to do stuff different. Yeah. So honestly, I like that's the big twist of the episode. They weren't fighting anybody. The doctor gets off the landmine that looks like one of those vacuum cleaners that you let roll around your room. It looks like it was all filmed in front of a blue screen or the volume. Special effects are a little better, but the writing is atrocious. The acting is atrocious. The dialogue delivery, again, this carries through from the Christmas special, is really bad. Like, the acting is insufferably bad. And production value, while looks pretty, and this might be the editor of me, it's poorly paced. This episode could have been 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I mean, it's still, it probably would have been a little bit better. And I saw some people online saying, hey, this is better than, the last couple of episodes. I agree. Yeah, it is. It's still shit, though. It's still shit. And why do they have a little girl running around a war zone? Well, it's a fake war zone. Well, still. But it's the repurposed ideas that kind of bother me the most. And I was watching it and I was hitting that 10-second faster thing. So, like, yeah, I missed a couple things comes on it. No. Okay. No. Nurse What likes to cry a lot. Lots of tears. Lots of Star Trek Discovery tears in this one. And we're supposed to think Ruby is dead. And when Ruby is dead, it starts to snow again. And they're like, that's impossible. This is wonderful. And they switch back and forth between emotions. And I know this is a specific, this is something they're being very specific about. It's edited and written emotionally neurotic. And they think that's what Gen Z is. Now, if you watch TikTok all day, you will agree with that assessment, but that's not what Gen Z is. Not every fucking Gen Z person is this emotionally neurotic. Disney. Emotionally neurotic. Emotionally neurotic psychopath. That's just on TikTok. And that's usually the kids of emotionally neurotic psychopath parents. So that's what they wrote it for. They actually tried to write a Doctor Who for what old gay men perceive as the TikTok generation. And it comes off like a bunch of out of touch old gay men writing for the TikTok generation. I don't know. I got a Gen Z kid. He's fucking based. So, chronically nerdrotic. Well, that's what I am. Chimera. Hey, this is probably the last. Well, if something else British comes out, I'll wear the bowler hat. Like, if I do my Clarkson's Farm, when I eventually do my Clarkson's Farm watch party, I'll probably wear the bowler hat. But these are my only opportunities to break it out. I paid it was in 2003. It was like $450 for this. It was not cheap. Horsehair. Clarkson's Farm. It's best show on television. Ratings are outstanding. It will be watched by more people than The Rings of Power for sure, and Doctor Who combined. So if you want something good to watch, treat yourself. You have 3 seasons now. I think they're all 8 episodes apiece. So that's 24 episodes. That's a couple of 3 days of binging you can do that you'll love. And season 3 just came out. Can't recommend it enough. This shit. Don't bother watching. Go touch grass. Do exactly what Jinx Monsoon told you to fuck off. Shooty Gatwa told you to touch grass. Others have said we just don't need you anymore because Jinx said this. There'll be 3 more to replace you. Okay, you know what? Your terms are acceptable. Care to wager on that? Let's find out. Because if all of us, percentage-wise, it wouldn't even be true. Because there is of the total Doctor Who audience out there, what's your best estimate of what's left? I'll be nice. 15% of the hardcores. And then there's probably the rest are normies. I'd say 15%. And that's probably what you hung on to. Like, even if it was good, you wouldn't get 100% of the audience back. You just wouldn't. Marvel, if they turn things around, we'll find that out. Star Wars would never turn things around, so they'll never find out. Star Trek could have found out, but they didn't. So it's 12, 15% of the audience that just like the brand Star Trek or like the brand Star Wars or Doctor Who or Marvel that are going to go there and don't like, just need the eye candy, not to be too insulting, but if you had a little laser pointer and a cat, they'd be entertained by that. And quite frankly, I'd be more entertained by that too, to be honest with you. I would be too. I would be too. All right. So where does it end? Oh, 2 white guys die. The guy who liked the girl in the B plot, who was the other Anglican Marine, dies. So the only people left are Nurse What, Ruby, white guy's daughter, and Pakistani Indian girl. Sorry, Pakistani or Indian girl. Who could have saw that coming? Look at the 2 white guys in Doctor Who. They're dead. Oh my God. So yeah, not good. I would say the Russell T Davies episodes are 0 out of 10. This one's 1.5. 1.5 out of 10. 1.5 out of 10. Is she going to be, is that the one, I was thinking that, but is she the one who's going to be the next companion? I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember, nor do I care. Nor do I care. Yeah, I'm not moving on with these. If something, it would have to be something like Timeless Children like for me to even report on this anymore. I'll talk about the ratings all day long. All day long I'll talk about those ratings. But yeah, I if they retroactively make Tom the 4th Doctor trans or something, I couldn't think of anything they could fuck up even more than fucking up the entire origin, calling Nurse What the last of the Time Lords when there's by generation. So there's a shitload of Time Lords out there right now. And like in that one episode in The Devil's Court, he said, "I'm the last of the Time Lords," and then was asked specifically if his granddaughter was still alive, Time Lady. He's like, "I don't know." I was like, "How the fuck do you know you're the last then?" They contradicted it immediately. It's sad, but like, dude, it's like we're way past the broken part here. Like so far past the broken part, it's not even worth it's not even worth your time. Roast it all you want on Twitter. That's fun. That's fun. I think maybe some good memes will come out of it. That's the best we can hope for. It's the best we can hope for. Eddie Brock, 9043 for 5.99 euros. Torchwood Children of Earth is amazing, but what are your thoughts on season 1 and 2? Think RTD will bring Torchwood back? Units replaced it, in my opinion. R.I.P. Doctor Who. I think Russell. No, we had a Whoverse planned, so I think I think they would try to bring back Unit and Torchwood in some form or another. They can't bring Jonathan Barrowman back, but which is too bad. But whatever, it'll just get ruined. He came back in Jodie's era and it got ruined. Yeah, I think they have lots of plans for side projects, and I think those plans are going to get scrapped. But I think they have some Disney upfront money, so we might get some shit. I won't even care. Like it's beyond fixing. There's a point where you just go beyond fixing. See ya. Yeah, Hooniverse. Memo to entertainment. Not that they're going to listen. Don't plan a verse on anything till you get your first one out. as far as making movies is concerned. As far as making movies is concerned, or television. Or television. Kenneth LaRocca, member for 9 months. Hail. Cheers. Love the bowler hat. Says Ram Bam 3000 for 2 British pounds. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I like it too. And it fits. Anthrax A for 2 Belgian. What's a BGN? Is that Belgian pesos? Did you watch Logan the Wolf fan made short? I have not watched that one. I'll have to check that one out. I don't remember watching it. Sebastian Howard for $5. Just watched Red Wedding. Got so brutal. Too bad it all ends badly. What were your criticisms of Capaldi era? I like the final episode of him a lot. Well, mostly it was like this. It got extremely well. My biggest criticism of the Capaldi era, besides it getting woke, was it couldn't find its rhythm as a series. I think Moffat was spread too thin, and it had some of the worst episodes, some horrible freaking dialogue, but also just like forgettable episodes. And maybe we got spoiled with too many, bangers, especially from season 1 to 6. Well, season 1 to 7. Okay. Season 1 to 7 was top notch, but it just it just went downhill. There were moments, there were there's deep breath and, why am I blanking on it now? I'm blanking on it. Why am I blanking on it? The Jamie Matheson episodes. There's the Mummy on the Orient Express and, God, what's the other one? This is what happens. I'm going to know it as soon as I see it. Flatline. Yeah, Flatline. Why am I forgetting Flatline? Flatline was so good. I think they're really close to each other. Great episodes, and I was kind of hoping he would take over after Moffat. Then they chose Chibnall because he's the only one who would take the job. But my biggest criticisms are none of her Capaldi. His performance is great, but it was just shit writing. It got super woke. I think criticism got into Stephen Moffat's head, and he kind of lost it. But we did get, Heaven Sent. There was still some good episodes, but I think they were far and few between. Lex Ludendi for $5. As someone who has never seen Doctor Who, let me tell you, the clips I've seen from this quote unquote new Doctor have ensured I have no desire to start now. Yeah, I can't see them getting new fans. Call me crazy. Might be going out on a limb here. Gary, are you getting rid of your Doctor Who tattoo? No, because these Doctor Who tattoos represent a better time. That's fine. Cyber leader Andy for 3 British pounds. Absolutely not. Because everything we've seen is just not Doctor Who. And it will be forgotten. Nobody's going to be buying Jodie Whittaker era or Nurse What in 40 years on some remastered 24K, direct to your brain download. I don't know what the hell we'll have, but yeah, nobody's going to be buying that stuff. SJ Almighty for 20 British pounds, proper money. Hail. Thank you for the super sticker. Cheers, SJ Almighty. Edgar Friendly's been a member for 4 months. Hail to you, Edgar. And Accident Seller for 20 Norwegian krona. The low viewer numbers are bigger on the inside. RTD. Bigger on the inside. So this is interesting. Apparently only 50,000 saw episodes 1 and 2 in the US on Disney Plus, and 73% turned it off at some point before it was all over. The deal is dead in the water. Wow, that's an excessively low number. Did Samba report that? I'm not sure. But that's bad. 50,000's low. I can see like the lowest number I heard, this is a long time ago, so I can't, this is like season 3 for Star Trek Discovery. I heard from the inside was like under 100,000, and it was for a short, and that's pretty bad. So you have to ask yourself, how are we counting a view? Is a view somebody clicking? That's bad for a paywall streaming service that, you know, put millions of dollars into something. Great for a fucking YouTuber of any size. Hitting 100,000 views on anything is fucking fantastic. And you drank a cup of coffee, you paid a little bit, like your budget was however much your internet cost during the upload, your cup of coffee. Yeah, but millions of dollars. What's my, here, I'll get to that super chat. What's my opinion on Nerd of the Rings? Is he okay? I have no opinion. He went out on the trip from Amazon and then later did an honest review. But I mean, I got nothing against him, like absolutely nothing against him at all. You know, but yeah, other than like being paid to go out there, and that was his decision. But I got nothing against him. Like honestly, I'm just trolling Fellowship of the Fans because they were scooping, and then they had to come out and say that some of their scoops weren't true. That Amazon was feeding them fake information, which confirmed that Amazon was feeding them information. And then like 2 days before the trailer came out, they're like, "We're done with scoops. We're tired of scoops." And I just called them out on it. I'm like, the scoopers who scooped are tired of the scoopers. Scoopity doo. Apparently they got upset. Oh, well. I am not sorry. Just like I'm not sorry when I say RIP Doctor Who, and if that upsets anybody, oh, well. Oh, well. Really enjoyed this one. Definitely not one of the best scripts, though. I have to say I'm liking Gatwa in the role. Your criticisms are fair, though. Yeah, if you like it, Cybermat, if you like it, you watch whatever the hell you want, brother. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you for the $5. As long as, you know what, if we can have a tit for tat. We can disagree on stuff. I disagree with my cohorts all the time. Like, I disagree with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers openly wearing Crocs. I want to disassociate myself from Geeks and Gamers, from a man who like wears pre-torn jeans and wears Crocs. But you know what? We're still friends. I still like him. He's an idiot, but he's our idiot. Okay. And he says the same thing. You know, I'm a senile, retarded old man, but I'm their senile, retarded old man. So see how it goes. Navigate for $2. Sober 8 years. Hail. Yeah. What is that hat? It is a bowler hat purchased from the Top Shop. I can't remember what street. It's on the inside of my box. It's in London. Winston Churchill bought his hat there, and so did Sweet Willie Brown, former San Francisco mayor and receiver of a Kamala Harris blowjob. Lock & Co. Why did I say Top Shop? Top Shop's another one. It's Lock & Co. Thank you, Flav. Top Shop's like fucking girly wear, right? I totally fucked that one up. Lock & Co. Yeah, Top Shop. I don't even know if the Top Shop's still there. Top Shop is like fucking girly clothes. What the hell was I thinking? Told you I'm senile. Getting shit mixed up. Jimmy Savile Row. I don't know. But I will point out, Jack Thursby, as you probably have already, that this bit obsessive about kids, lots of babies, references to babies being eaten and made from the network, who's in partnership with Disney, who's got their own reputation issues of their own, from the network that gave us Jimmy Savile. Hey, did you like Jack? Did you watch Clarkson's Farm? They actually get a Jimmy Savile joke in because there's a tractor called Savile. He's like, that's not a fucking good name. Ram Bam 3000 for £5 British. You have the hat. You still need the white jumpsuit, the black as bobber boots, and the fake eyelashes. Oh, well, fake eyelash. I went out in Halloween in costume. Listen, cosplay can be an art, but I hate the term cosplay. Just like I hate the term graphic novel. It's a fucking comic book. Just call it a comic book. Now, it's for different reasons. I know Alan Moore's rant that he went, fuck Alan Moore, man. The guy thinks he's a fucking wizard and does a bunch of fucking drugs. You know what? You wrote some good comic books, and he was bitching about novels. Can't seem to remember how many great novels Alan Moore's written. Oh, none! He's taken repurposed characters. He's really good with repurposed characters and repurposing them in comic books and flipping them on their edge. But even he said that the comic book industry was not supposed to become Watchmen, which it did. So it's not all his fault, but he's a twat. Where was I? I got all cut up in Alan Moore. Oh, graphic novel. So I've always just hated it because it sounded like, oh, we're just too sophisticated and pompous to say the word comic book. So like if you were ever at my shop, you would know I fucking hated that term. And I know there's like, it's specific to a more expensive, thicker comic book. That's all. That has a completed story. I understand that. I just call it a comic book. Fuck that graphic novel. That's that erudite fucking academic shit that started like fucking up our industry. That's dead and gone, by the way. It's another one that's dead. Yeah. Graphic novel. Where was I? Let's get back to you guys. Went on a rant. There's like another half of that rant that I just completely forgot, but I'll remember it. Hi, Gary. What are your favorite animes? Well, I'm such an anime expert. It's second only to my gaming expertise. So I'm going to name the ones I've seen. Okay. Captain Harlock, Captain Harlock, One Piece, Parasite, Akira, Speed Racer, and Battleship Yamato, which is Star Blazers. Have I watched anything else? Not yet. That's pretty much it. Did I pick some good ones? Speed Racer, I used to get up at 5 in the morning, 5 in the fucking morning as a child to see Speed Racer, and it was followed by the 1960s Spider-Man cartoon. And then after the Spider-Man cartoon, they play Star Blazers, and I started just slowly getting interested in that, which was awesome. If only Doctor Who hadn't been canceled after season 10. I know, right? Hail, life is good. I agree. Recently rewatched clips from the 50th special, and John Hurt had more gravitas and was more of the Doctor than Jodie or Shooty. We needed more of Hurt. Yeah, he did some audio adventures. The War Doctor did some Big Finish, which I'm done with as well. I'm saving so much money for older comic books. Okay, I read that one. Tyrone just reacts to it, and it looks amazing. It's a fan-made short film that's better than anything Hollywood has released in the last 5 years. I will check it out. Antraxa. Okay, dude, it's the capital A's that are just throwing me off. Hey, Gary here. This episode made me miss stuff like 4 to Doomsday. It made me miss good entertainment. Woodsy 1 has become a new member. Hail. Make sure I didn't miss any here. Okay. We're going to wrap it up. This is like old days, man. We get in and out of here in like 40 minutes. So the next live reviews will be over on the membership side on the main channel. Going to do Clarkson Farm before I take off on vacation. Yes, I'm going on, like, I'm going to try anyway, go on a vacation where I'm kind of unplugged for a little while so I can see my kid and my youngest kid and my oldest niece graduate within the same week. So that's going to be awesome. Men's Journal. Here we go. I didn't get this one. Men's Journal gave this episode 10 out of 10. Laughed my ass off. Said this was as good as Tenet's Midnight. What the fuck? No. Oh, God, no. God, no. Disparu will do a review. Go check it out. Disparu will do a review. Go check it out. Oh, yeah. So the next live reviews on this channel. I think Acolyte's just going to be videos. So it's going to be on this channel. It'll probably be I don't know. On the main channel, we're going to do House of the Dragon for sure and the Rings of Power. So those will be the next live reviews. They'll be on the main channel. I might come back for the finale. We'll see. We'll see. Yo, Gary, did you ever read Philip K. Dick, A Scanner Darkly? Yes. Do androids dream of electrical sheep? Yes. Many, many years ago I did. I recently finished Ubik. Awesome fucking stories. Highly recommend to anyone who hasn't read them. Love you, man. Yeah. Philip K. Dick, towards the end of his life, big believer in simulation theory. Absolutely was convinced of it. Big drug addict. Yeah, but good stuff. Good stuff. Gamer God Gary, when is your next gaming stream? Soon, empty-headed. We have to do a square up. So the next square up is going to be a gaming stream. Just got to coordinate with X-Ray Girl. She's going to have to read the questions while I game, because I can't answer questions and get, I don't know if I'm going to be able to answer questions and game at the same time. That'll be funny. I'm a huge Liege Matsumoto fan too, Gary. You are awesome. Good taste. Thank you. I can't pronounce the name. George A. Petrowski Jr. is a new member. Hail. Lady Greymaster, you're not supposed to be super chatting. Graphic novel is a comic book. What romance is to smut. People too ashamed to admit that they read it and like it, so they rename it, and their denial and shame. Yeah, it's just a fucking comic book. It's fine. It's just a more expensive one. It's a more expensive one. But I was also going to make another point that I completely forgot. Sorry. Yes, we're OG. We read all that shit. Yep. Okay. I think that's it. I read that. All right. So no, I will not be back next week with a live stream of a fucking Doctor episode. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. I'm actually watching for the first time ever Yellowstone. So there's parts of it I really like. I'm only on the first 2 seasons. It's very Godfather. It's very Godfather. So those parts I like. The woke teacher who just skips past like the Native American history, where she tries to, I think there's one part like they got fucked over. We all know that, but acting like she makes this speech like they didn't have weapons. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? Are you high? They were killing and enslaving each other, and they died of mass disease before Columbus even got there. And it might have been, it probably was, from other Westerners coming over earlier, right? So yes, and the last to release slaves, Native Americans, they were the last to release slaves. So like, don't skip over that part. You can certainly talk about manifest destiny and all that crap, but I was just like, so I just fast forwarded that part, but I like the rest. But I was like, shit, what the? Come on. I mean, the Spanish, they were assholes, but it's the way it is. That's history. I was a female fan. Found Doctor Who in 2005. Loved every Doctor until Jodie. So disappointed about the fate of one of my favorite franchises. Clashy 23 for £5 British. I remember one of the first emails I got when this thing started kicking out. It's 5 years. And by the way, again, there's nothing new to say with the show. Like for the people creating it and for the for even criticisms at this point, other than like if you want to just roast how badly written and acted it is, fine. But like culturally, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Kind of like the mainstream American comic book industry. They're still doing cringe shit. And once in a while, you know, Memology or somebody will throw up a post and we go, oh, that's fucking terrible. But then like culturally, it's irrelevant. It was at one time. It's not anymore. And it's, you know, that's the thing about content creating. If you really do believe in this stuff and you're about it, if you're actually about it, you got to choose your battles, you know, because not everything is woke trash. Some things are just like, whatever, you know. But I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it sucks. But I mean, if we want to like look at this positively, right? Which I try to do in recovery, it's like eventually we say our piece and we try to like, what are we grateful for? We're grateful for 50 plus years of pretty fucking good Doctor Who. You can count on one hand how many shows are like that. How many shows are like that? So go and do a rewatch and maybe they'll find, you know, I love the fact that like the animation's not great, but they're finding the older episodes and they're animating them. And I fucking think that's great. That's great. And they're not changing them. That'll happen soon. That'll happen soon. So buy physical media because they will be editing Doctor Who. There's a lot of things in Pertwee's era, especially and beyond that they will determine is sexist, even though it's fucking not. It's just not. Just know in this pop culture war, ultimately we'll win because you're the customer. You decide. You decide. You have the money. You decide. The one thing they always forget, the one thing they always disrespect is you. You decide. We will also lose massively. We'll lose the things we love. I think we knew that pretty early on. If something can be salvaged, great. Thumbs up. I'm here for it. If Marvel can be salvaged, but Star Trek, no. Star Wars, no. Maybe DC will be good. Don't think so, but maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good. But be grateful. Like there's a lot of great Star Trek out there. There's a lot of great Doctor Who. And it's perfectly like actually the rewatchability on some of that stuff. Rewatch DS9. The rewatchability on that, especially later on, is really freaking good. The rewatchability of Doctor Who is really freaking good. It's really good. So don't get too down. Do you remember the 80s miniseries V? I do. I watched it live. It had Michael Ironside, Ursa from Superman 2, and Robert Englund in it. Alien reptiles disguised as humans. It was fantastic. Fantastic. I loved it. They made in the series. I like the miniseries. The miniseries was cool as hell. All right, guys. Oh, wait, there's more. Look at you. Play Fallout 2 requires no skills and is all lore. That's something my kid said, but he wants me to play. He's like, you should play, Dad. Thank you. Oh, look. You look great in that hat. Thank you. Cheers, Matthew. Appreciate it. Justin Martins for $5. What do you think would be who do you think would be a good showrunner who would stand the best chance to fix Takeover Doctor? Oof. They would have to own it. They would have to buy Doctor Who and own it outright and have carte blanche. A showrunner right now. I don't trust anybody. Look what Stephen Moffat and RTD just did. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. Be good to each other. I'm going to be on Flashcast tonight, I think, for a little while. I'm pretty streamed out, but I'm going to, Flash asked me to be on, so I'm going to go there and hang out for a little bit. And until next time, we'll see you on this channel on Forbidden Frontier, where we have George Howard from Cosmic Tusk joining us tomorrow. Catch you later. RIP Doctor Who.